And we're back. Strong boss bitches in the house. We're talking about infidelity today, Monica.
Oh my God, this is going to be a hot one.
I mean, and a lot of this is going to be on you because you see it.
I know.
You
and it's going
it.
to be, like I said, I think I may have some controversial views about how I view infidelity.
But we're doing this today.
Yes, we are.
So stay with us. Hello, everyone. This is Meredith with a Y, and I am your host, Meredith Willits. Today, we are going to go deep, changing lives, and I am giving you the keys to the castle. Monica, I got to tell you.
Infidelity.
I cheated on you last night.
Girl, was it good? If it was good, you had a hall pass.
I got a hall pass.
Had a hall pass if it was good. Okay,
right. So I talked to another podcast host, but so I cheated. I'm just kidding you, please.
Shame on you.
But is it a deal breaker?
You know what? As an investigator, I am bombarded with calls from women suspecting boyfriends of infidelity, wives suspicious of husbands, husbands suspicious of wives. And after 25 years and well over 6,000, close to 7,000 investigations, I've worked a lot of quote unquote infidelity cases or adultery cases, right? My view has changed about infidelity. Is it rampant? My God, yes. But what you have to recognize is that with the resurgence of technology and the advancement of technology, 15, 20 years ago, you didn't have all these dating apps, your Tinders and your Bumbles and your matchmakers and your all this eHarmony.
But there's actually a whole website that's geared towards married people cheating.
Absolutely.
I forget what it's, Ashley Madison,
yes.
is it?
Yes. I mean, and there's some others. There's so many hookup sites. It's not even funny. But with the advancement of technology, I just feel like, and again, this is where I think this episode is going to be controversial. My view of infidelity has changed. When I was younger, when I was in my 20s and my 30s, it was a deal breaker for me.
Line in the sand.
It was a deal breaker for me. But as I've matured, when you get into your 40s, it just changes. It's not a deal breaker for me anymore. It is not a deal breaker for me anymore.
And we were just talking, though, there's also levels.
There are levels, but and when you look at the core of what caused the infidelity. So let's look at when you are just dating. When you're boyfriend and girlfriend, not even when you're engaged, when you're boyfriend and girlfriend. It is fascinating to me that we are the only species in the world that is expected to be monogamous.
Committed monogamous for life.
Committed monogamous for life.
Don't look.
Don't
swipe.
Don't touch. Don't blink an eye. Don't swipe left. Don't swipe right.
Right.
That is so freaking unrealistic. You have to understand that we live in a society now as single women. I know in Atlanta, the ratio, it used to be 20-1. The thing is fucking 30-1.
Men to women, men to women to men.
There are 30 women to every man in Atlanta. It is insane.
They need to bring in the guys from Alaska, because Alaska, it's like the opposite of men.
Insane.
We could send you to Alaska.
Girl, please, I got a man. And I got a good one and I'm holding on to him. Okay.
Right.
But because it is so competitive, I mean, in Atlanta, you have some of the most beautiful women in the world, not in the nation, in the freaking world, of every race. Beautiful, Black, white, Irish, Hispanic, just drop dead gorgeous, smart, successful, educated. They have their own homes. They're successful. They're wealthy. They're financially secure. It's very different. So because it's so competitive, a lot of women have adopted, I mean, it's real controversial, this attitude of they're okay with sharing their man. It's so competitive.
I can't imagine.
That their attitude is, well, I know he got other ones. I know he got side chicks or whatever, but it's okay because I'm number one. And I actually had a guy tell me that. Retired NFL player, single, fabulous, And when I found out that he was dating like me and 5 other people, his response to me was, well, you number one. I said, boo, if it's a 2, 3, 4, and a 5, what do you mean? He was like, you should be okay if you number one, if I'm spending the majority of my time with you.
I'd be like, well, I'm going to call them and see if you say that to them too.
You know what, precious? Let me let you go on out here with 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, I ain't got time for that.
Because see, you're not getting ready to bring no cooties to me.
Well, yeah.
We ain't even doing it. And it's not, even when you think about it from being a sexually responsible person and practicing safe sex, you ain't gonna tell me you using a condom with all 5.
No.
I know better than that. I done seen too many of y'all do that raw dog stuff. Get out of here, y'all. Be talking about you don't like condoms. That's a whole nother episode too. Mm-hmm. So I don't even have an attitude of, it's like, if I find out my dude's doing something, we need to have a conversation. Let's have a conversation.
Why do you need so many women?
What made you? Okay, is it something that I'm not doing? Am I not satisfying you? Is this just a situation where, I'm going to say it, it's an old saying what they call a strange pussy.
Oh, Lord.
Okay, maybe this is a situation where you needed a little piece of strange pussy. Okay, I'm going to give you a hall pass.
But you want a strange guy.
Exactly.
Maybe
but
you want something outside of your box.
Okay, so we're going to have this conversation. I got your strange dick, you got your strange pussy. You good? Come on, let's get back together.
But this is a big thing with the pineapples and the swingers. My friends and I, we die laughing because you cannot have anything in your house that's a pineapple. Like, what if you walked in and I got an upside down pineapple on my house wall? You think that you were coming into some sort of vortex of like us trying to hit on you? Like, this is a thing. Like, this is a thing.
But I am telling you.
Swingers, but
we have to. It is a thing.
It's a thing.
In my that's a whole nother conversation.
But that could be infidelity, or is that a way around infidelity? Is that a way to prevent infidelity? Like,
but see, again, I took a survey, not in 2019, because last year was pandemic, so when we was all just COVID crazy.
Right.
But I took a survey in 2019 because I found out that we had swingers in my subdivision.
Oh Lord.
And being who I am, I just wanted to understand, how did they view it? And the ones that I found out were swingers. They were like, look, Monica, we've been married for 25 years. I love her. She loves me. But whatever we have to do to keep a little spice in our marriage, that's what we do. We decide on the couple. We decide on the person. It's never a situation where it's me with one person. It's always us as a couple. We've made the decision to be with that person. And I said, wow, so you all have made this okay because you've consented to it as a married couple.
As an adult.
Absolutely. As an adult.
Committed monogamous,
some people look at it as variety.
Yeah.
Keep, spicing up the marriage, spicing up the relationship. Then there's other people that feel like under no context should you ever be inviting outside situations into your marriage.
I think any sort of rule is ridiculous. If you and your spouse want to do whatever you want to do, have at it.
Like, if you guys have discussed it and you've made the adult decision,
and you're not forcing your spouse, and you're not doing it sneaky,
that's y'all's business.
But isn't that better to have that conversation and be able to move in that direction? Because I do have some clients that are swingers.
Yeah.
And I have to be super mindful to keep my opinion and my views and my structure to myself, because I cannot imprint myself onto someone else's life.
Right.
But honestly, I'd rather see a couple make choices that make sense for them than have someone go out and start cheating.
But see, this is where I have a challenge. I will speak to you from an investigative standpoint.
Right.
When I have a client that comes to me and they say, we've been married for 18 years. I suspect my spouse is having an affair. Okay. And I discovered that he is having an affair.
Mm-hmm. So now and she doesn't yet.
So from an investigative standpoint, when a client comes to me and they suspect their spouse of having an affair, and I discovered that her husband is having an affair, as I start doing a deeper dive, this woman hasn't had sex with her husband in 2 years. Okay. So you ain't had sex with your man. You're not pleasing him. But then you are devastated when you find out that your husband is actually having an extramarital affair. But then what kind of responsibility do you take in the fact that you have not been satisfying and pleasing your man sexually for 2 years.
Now there is a thing on TikTok though.
okay,
I'm going to come at you.
Okay,
There's a thing on TikTok that
let
they
me
say
finish.
he's an asshole and that's why she ain't sleeping with him.
Wait, let me finish. Come and find out, she's gained weight. She's not comfortable with her body anymore, doesn't feel sexy.
Okay.
So because she doesn't feel sexy anymore, she's just decided that I'm just not going to have sex with my husband anymore. I don't feel good about myself. How can I perform?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm sorry, but you have a responsibility first to yourself for your own sexual health and gratification. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You also have a responsibility that if you are in a marriage and you know and you understand that intimacy, mental, emotional, and physical, is an important part of your union, I think that you have a responsibility to make sure that your partner is sexually satisfied and happy. How do you not have sex with your husband for 2 years and then you're upset when you find out that he's having a damn affair? You partially caused that.
Well, I think that this is a huge conversation because there's so many different layers and levels, and there's so many different pieces and parts to women's sexual sex drive, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like for myself, I'm on tamoxifen, which is just a crazy bullshit thing with the breast cancer. So it moves your estrogen around.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole thing. Then we have women going through menopause. Then we have women that are empty nesters and going through all these different changes.
Right.
I think that this is a breakdown of the union. What you're seeing of not having sex, of what you're seeing of gaining weight, of what you're seeing and not having sex, feeling sexy and then having sex is a breakdown of the union. It cannot be blamed on one or the other. It's too, like, so say she gains weight. Mm-hmm. Is it his responsibility to then come in and say, God, you're beautiful. I don't care what you look like. You're so sexy. Because you know what? I've gained weight. And my husband's like, I don't care what you look like. I think that you're gorgeous. He makes me feel, he inspires me to feel good about myself, which then allows me to be comfortable being with him. Right. But there are so many different pieces and parts. I think that we can't break this down and say, it's this person's fault, it's that person's fault. No, I think it's a breakdown of the marriage or the relationship.
There is a responsibility that you have to keep that open communication
that I agree with,
where you can go to your spouse. And if it means that you need to have the responsibility to go to the doctor, I have friends that have gone through exactly what you're talking about, okay? Where for hormonal reasons, they've gone through, they've had all kind of things, breast cancer, different itises, MS, and all kind of stuff going on. Well, they've gone to the doctor and the doctor says, you know, I'm going to need to put you on this type of hormone or whatever to help you with your libido, to help increase it or whatever. But again, that is to me being proactive, where you are taking responsibility to remain vital for you as well as for your marriage. Mm-hmm. But I think the communication is important.
Communication is huge.
It's important. It's important for him to know what she needs and what she needs to hear to validate her. But you also have to be woman enough to go to your man and say, honey, I know
we have an issue,
that we've got a challenge. I know we got an issue. Yeah. You know, I don't want you to think that I don't love you or I'm not attracted to you or that I don't want to make love to you, but I feel unattractive or my hormones are going crazy. But what I find as an investigator is that those fucking conversations never take place.
No.
They just fucking stop pleasing their man. You know, they cooking dinner. Well, they got to do that because they got to eat, you know, and they're taking care of the kids and they're doing all the mommy things that they're supposed to do. But you've stopped taking care of pleasing your man. That's not realistic to expect a man to sit there for 2 damn years unsatisfied. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. That is not realistic.
Right. Well, I mean, and we talked about too, before hitting record, that there's different levels, different layers, different types of cheating.
Of infidelity.
Right. And, you know, back in the day, it was you saw someone, you hooked up with them, or, you know, you're calling them or whatever. But now there's layers. Now there's apps. Now there's sexting.
There's pornography. There's online websites.
Or you can have just a kiss at a bar. You know, you're wasted. You kiss somebody at a bar. Or you could have, you've been having an affair for 6 years. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you said it's no longer a deal breaker for you.
For me, it's not a deal breaker.
But it's a 6-year affair. You're married. If this person's having an affair for 2 years.
To me, I'm out of fucking touch.
Yeah.
If I don't know my man been having an affair for 6 damn years,
right,
you out of touch. Women
yeah.
have an internal intuition
that
we know when shit ain't right.
Right.
You don't have to see a lipstick print. You don't have to smell a fragrance. Energy.
He acting shifty.
Energy.
Yeah.
When you are making love to that person, you have to understand that a woman, you know this, you got a JJ, we both have a JJs. when we have a cavity in our body. So when a man is making love to us, he is entering our body. Those energies are mixing.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that you done sat up here and made love to another woman, had sex, effing, whatever you want to call it, okay? And you come home to me and I'm not going to feel that shift in energy of the person you've been with? Girl, come on.
Maybe you don't want to see
it.
You
know when something ain't right.
Right.
You ain't got to smell it. You ain't got to see it. None of that. We know when something's not right. So no, you can't have no affair for 6 damn years and I don't know if something ain't right.
But and the thing of it is we were talking just in general. And this goes back to infidelity. This goes back to trust. This goes back to the gut feeling that you're just mentioning now, is if you, even as a private investigator, that is your life's work.
It is.
If you have to Google someone, because I figured you Googled
I told you, I'm single.
If you have to Google somebody, you're not even going to bother because you have it in your gut already.
I said this to you.
Yeah.
My 25 years as a private investigator, and you know that I'm single and I've never been married, right? If I have to either feel like I got to run a background check on you or I'm going to Google you, I will not date you.
Right.
Because that means that there is something suspect already in my head about you.
Your spidey senses
my
are going
spidey
off.
Girl,
going
let
off.
me tell you what. My spidey senses, which is what makes me such a fantabulous ass fucking investigator. My spidey senses ain't nothing to play with. I know when something ain't right. I won't even get into it. I won't date you. I just will not. And we all have that. All women have amazing intuition. What I am finding is that women, because of the pressure that society puts on women to, there's something wrong with you if you're not married. There's something wrong with you if you're not in a relationship. What is wrong with you if you're in your 40s or your 50s or however, and you're not? What is wrong with you? That women want so badly to adhere to the perception of Prince Charming that they're dealing with all kind of fucking foolishness and bullshit. And they have to stop it. I would much rather be single and happy than be in a relationship with somebody's damn son that I'm fucking miserable with. What sense does that make so I can make you feel like I'm living this perfect life? That's a fantasy and some bullshit.
Right.
It's bullshit.
But don't you think that people turn a blind eye? I mean, I do know people, especially, where I live here, people turn a blind eye because they would rather stay in a broken relationship than give up the lifestyle.
Absolutely.
The paycheck is way too worth staying in a marriage so that their husbands can do whatever it is. And you do see this in a lot of very wealthy
I see it a lot.
areas.
I see it a lot.
The wife's like, hey,
the
paycheck,
my wealthier clients,
the wealthier they are.
I have a client.
Because it costs too much to get a divorce.
I have a client, wealthy billionaire socialite in Atlanta, one of the most fascinating cases I've ever worked in 25 years. Called me and when I found out who she was, I was like, oh my God. I mean, this woman's a billionaire. And she said, I've been married to my husband for 30 years. She said, I was going through the laundry, separating the laundry. And she said, I found a lipstick print on the front flap of his boxers. And this is how she said it to me. I'll never forget it. She said, in sugar, it wasn't my shade of Revlon. I said, all right now. So she said, I'm going to go out of town. I want you to follow him for 3 days. She said, I need to find out what the hell's going on and who this woman is. She goes out of town. The first day, he's a good little boy. He's staying home. That second day, he got up, he's 60, got up, went and picked up his 28-year-old little sugar mama, right? He took her shopping. They went to the grocery store. They went back to her house and did the the
Horizontal mambo.
did the horizontal mambo. And he went home, and then the next day his wife comes home. So I got video
We're in.
all of this.
Boxes checked.
Do the report. I'm so proud of myself. I'm like, oh my God, I know she's gonna divorce his ass. So when I asked her, I said, do you want me to forward this to your attorney, to your divorce attorney? How do you want me to handle this? So she said, sugar. She said, I'm not leaving him. She said, I stand to lose entirely too much. She said, I helped him build this legacy and this dynasty. She said, I just wanted to see who that bitch was. When I tell you I was speechless, because I'm up here like, girl,
it's over.
I would get half of his shit. He's a billionaire. I'd be living in the high life. What? Drinking my mimosas and chilling. And she said, I'm not going anywhere. She said, I stand to lose entirely too much.
My thing is,
I could not understand that.
To me, I'd rather have a fourth and go live a happy life, not being second fiddle to a 28-year-old.
But see, it was too important for her. Like she said, I helped him build this.
But see, I see that, you know how they say you sell your soul to the devil?
Well, I
always tell people, selling your soul to the devil is not afterlife. That is life. You're selling your soul to being cheated on, to money, to wealth, to a lifestyle. And it's misery, it's hell on earth.
But each individual situation.
They have their own thing, right?
Everyone has their own thing. But again, I think that we have to look at what makes us become unfaithful. What is the cause of the infidelity?
Where is the catalyst?
What is the catalyst of it that causes it? Because there's always something that causes it, whether it's competitiveness, whether it's boredom,
self-esteem,
whether it's self-esteem issues. I know one of the guys that I was dating, I remember him saying to me that he realized that he had become sexually promiscuous because he was dealing with a midlife crisis. He said, I was always this, I was always the jock, and I was always, the best man, and everybody loved me. And he said, I started questioning my sexuality. He said, and I looked up and I realized that I just had turned into this hoe because I wanted to see whether or not I still had it or not.
Yeah.
And I said, well, you know what? That's great that you came to that realization, but who was the person you were either married to or dating? What did that do to that relationship? He said, it destroyed it.
Well, of course.
But again, like I said, because I get bombarded with all of these calls about infidelity, and it's like what you said, you made a really good point. It's different now. Because people have so many more choices. You ain't even got to leave the comfort of your home.
You can have to leave the bathroom. You can
pick up your damn phone.
And see 100 people in the circumference of your house. You can
pick up your phone and you can literally watch a webcam of somebody doing everything you've asked them to do. You're talking to them, instructing them on what you want them to do. You can watch a porno movie. There's every kind of site you could think of.
But even, I'm talking hookups even.
Oh, it's crazy.
Like you could sit in your house and quote, look for people.
Absolutely.
And not leave your house.
Absolutely.
And now you have a connection.
Absolutely.
But see, the problem is, okay, so this is going to kind of go a roundabout, but it's a little Meredithness, is when I look at when I look at choices being made in life, no matter what they are, okay? And a lot of people are like, oh, the Bible, sin, whatever. And this is not a holy roller conversation. I look at the Bible. I look at, quote, sin. I look at those as a steering wheel of how to live your life without creating hell on earth. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. I look at those as, hey, don't kill anybody because it's not going to go well. Your life's going to kind of turn into a pile. Don't steal. Right. Don't want what other people have because it hurts your heart. I don't look at it like you're not going to go to heaven because I believe everyone goes to heaven because that's me.
I'm going to ask you a controversial question and I want a damn honest answer. If you were to find out right now that Jim was having an affair, what would you do?
How long has he been having an affair?
A year.
A year? Oof. I think it would be hard because at that point, I know that he's been lying to me for a year. I know that he's taken money and resources from my family to support that affair. He's taken time away from me and my kids to be with that other person. Mm-hmm. And for that means for 12 months that he has chosen to not align himself with me And so I would say that we got a major, major problem.
Right.
Now, if he's out in Vegas and he's whooping it up with his buddies,
Right.
and he goes to a strip club or whatever,
Right.
and ends up making out with a stripper, I'm like, I got you.
Right. Right. I get you.
It could have been me.
I got you.
You know
But
what I
see,
mean?
that's my point.
Yeah.
Again, to me, those two contexts are totally different. The
Totally
latter is
different.
not a deal breaker to me.
Not at all.
It's not. But
Jim, now that means if you're listening to this,
Jim's like,
this
woo-hoo!
is there's no hall pass.
She gave me a hall pass.
There's no hall pass.
I got
going
the
on
evidence.
here.
She gave me a hall pass.
But I mean, we
But
have
I'm
to let people
saying
screw up.
Exactly. But that year, that's a deal breaker for me.
Yeah, we have
Because we need
major
to have a
problem.
conversation. Do you need a hall pass? Is it something that I'm not doing after this many years in our union that you're not satisfied?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But people are not willing to have those conversations. And please, let's not bring religion into it, because I know there's some people out there now that turned over and don't never want to talk to neither one of us again.
But I'm only
let me finish
talking
this.
in the
This
sense
is
of bad life.
reality.
Yeah.
This is reality. See, this is what people don't want to understand. This has nothing to do with whether you're a Christian, you're a believer, you're a
No,
non-believer.
Not at
This
all.
is the reality of life and what is happening.
But what I think, when you open Pandora's box and you are a married person or in a committed monogamous relationship and you download that app,
Mhm.
it's
I agree.
it's murder, not homicide.
I agree.
You are premeditated going out. You're not making out with someone in the bar after you've had 300 tequilas.
So
You are premeditated going out there to look for people. You are a predator.
So let me ask you something. What
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to say right now is going to be real controversial. I know they're going to wear our social media out. So I'm just telling y'all, this is the truth. Don't get mad with me. This is what
It's her fault.
This is my opinion
Mhm.
and what I chose to.
Right.
I have a girlfriend whose husband is a big time pastor. They've been married for about 18 years. Quarterly, he would tell her, I just need to have a couple of days or a day away.
So he's going on a little trip.
He would go to a local hotel in Atlanta and spend like a day or two, and he would come home. So she said, Monica, I got curious.
Oh.
She said, and I went and I just wanted to find out what he was doing. What she found out is that he likes porn.
Mm.
So he would literally sit there and spend a day or two and do nothing but watch porn. So she said, how should I feel about that? She said, isn't that almost like a form of infidelity? She said, because he is attracted to watching eroticism with other couples or other women or other people. So this is
But he's alone.
he's alone.
He's alone.
But this is what my question to her was. This is my statement to her. Y'all can get mad, get glad. Okay. I said, how do you feel about erotica? I said, what's your opinion about it? Is it sinful to you as a pastor's wife? I said, but just as a woman in life, how do you feel about erotica? So she said, I've never really thought about it, but I think it's sinful. I said, if you find out that your husband likes erotica, you have two choices. You can either, as his partner, his wife, his lover, find a way to be able to bring that into the marriage where that's something that you and him can enjoy together. Or you can continue with the mindset that you have where it's sinful and it's against what you believe. I said, because if this is what he's been doing,
we have a problem.
we have a problem.
We have a problem.
So my suggestion to you is find a way to be comfortable. I said, because there's different levels of erotica and people don't understand that.
Yeah.
There's different levels of it.
I mean, people could say Victoria's Secret
Absolutely.
is erotica. I mean,
and I said to her, I said, do you wear anything sexy? And she says, no, I don't usually do that. I said, that's one of the first things that I suggest for you to do. I said, find something that you feel comfortable in, whether it's a teddy, whether it's lacy
be
lingerie,
cute,
just
whatever,
something
right.
cute. find something that
is visual,
that's visually attractive,
yeah,
and that you feel comfortable with. That was my first suggestion.
Yeah.
I said, and then number two, I said, why don't you take a look at what he's watching? And that will help you to determine, is it something that's too far against
right,
what your comfort zone is? When you look at something like The Notebook to me, and you see the beauty of the relationship between Noah and Allie, okay? There's so many, and I'm not saying that that's erotica, but
right,
there's levels of it. We're not talking about hardcore porn here.
right. Is it Skinamax or are you, in it?
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that was my suggestion to her. She did it, and it literally changed their marriage.
Yeah. Well,
but there will be people that, because see, I felt like you have to stop him from feeling like he has to sneak and leave the home and be away from you for a day or two because he's sitting there watching erotica.
Right.
You have to find a way to be able to bring this back into the home where the next step is not going to be him with somebody else watching erotica.
And maybe,
So tell me what you think about that.
What I think is we need to be so mindful that we're not constantly putting all of this on the woman. We have to look at it and go, okay, this guy might have like a crazy porn addiction. We don't even know what he was watching. It could be something really creepy that you and our hair would fall out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know. But I think as a team, and that's what marriage is it's teamwork, we need to figure out.
So what you're saying is, I hear you, but I completely disagree with you.
I know, because
I disagree with you, but I hear you. I respect respect your opinion.
I think we need to come together as a marriage.
You're saying that the honage, quote unquote, shouldn't have been put on the wife. Well, who the hell else you gonna put it on?
But my point is,
he's leaving the home for a day or two to go and do this.
Right, but he also needs to figure out, like, look, what is a happy medium for me? What is a happy medium for her? How could I explain this to her that I'm not some creeper, like whatever?
But see, he was afraid to expose her.
He might have just been watching Skinamax. And she might be like, you know what, actually, this is kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But that's the conversation that you have to have.
Right.
And so I think we need to continuously, when we talk about a marriage, they're two individual people, okay, that are coming together to try to create a life together.
Right.
And no matter how many as much as I like you, as much as you like me, we like different foods.
Sure.
We like different TV shows and different movies.
Right.
And so what we're saying is, hey, how do we connect our lives and our likes and our progression as humans? Because I might decide all of a sudden that I only want to do podcasts where I sing. And you're like, I don't know if I can live with that, Meredith, because you're tone deaf. And so what we're trying to do is in a marriage is create an experience for both partners to be able to grow inside of the marriage, but still grow as individuals.
Sure.
And so he needs to be himself and she needs to be herself. And maybe at the end of the day, the decision that they make is that every 3 months he goes watches porn at a hotel.
Right.
And she doesn't have to deal with his nonsense. And that he can go watch his porn. And if he wants to go once a month, he can go do that. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that is where we need to head.
But again, if the woman is timid or she's ultra conservative, why not find out if this is something that we can learn to discover to enjoy ourselves?
Right.
Where my man ain't got to go to no damn hotel for a day or two.
But even if he does go to a hotel, let him go to a hotel. I like to go to India. Jim has no desire to travel to India for 10 days.
I understand
and deal with that. But I have to be allowed to go to India to do my shit.
I hear ya, but I would rather have my man at home if I need to expand or open my mind to what his idiosyncrasies may be or how I can please my man better. Let me take a beat and look at this and see, is this something that we can do together?
Yeah.
He wasn't asking her to swing. He was taking it.
But what if he was?
But then she would have to have an honest conversation with him about her comfort zone.
Yeah.
Because she may not be comfortable with that.
Right.
She may not be comfortable with that.
And so now we're at a what do they call that, impasse? Like now we're not moving forward. And that's the thing. That's why we need to understand that some marriages end, and it's not the end of the world, because one day Meredith wakes up and wants to only sing during her podcast, and you look at Meredith and say, we cannot continue this partnership. I love you. So
let me ask you a question. How do you feel about erotica? Do you like it or you do not like it?
I could take it or leave it. Like to me, it's way too much effort to find it on the television. But like, I know Howard Stern, he talks about that he's on, his YouPorn site, like all day long, and Beth could give two shits.
Right.
And that's like his thing. He's a very sexual person.
It has everything to do with the couple and the relationship.
It's a couple, it's the individual.
Like it, some people don't.
But if like my husband was...
So do you know whether Jim likes it or not? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
that it's a conversation I don't think you guys have ever had. Yeah, you haven't even had the conversation.
No, of course we talk about everything. But I think for us, it's just not like maybe it was like on vacation.
So is it something you guys have watched together?
Yeah,
have you ever
of
watched
course. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a non.
If you've had the conversation, and you know how each other feels, take it or leave it. I like erotica personally. Yeah, I do. So it's not an issue for me if my man likes erotica.
Right, it's not an issue.
But it's not a situation where if he doesn't like it, it's a deal breaker for me, because it isn't.
What if he was like, it's a deal breaker, and now he's forcing his opinions onto you?
Yeah, I mean, that would be a challenge for me, because I like erotica.
Right, and what if he's like, you are sinning? But see, this is why you date. This is why you hire slow and fire fast. Because you have to date your friends, you need to date your podcast
if he partners. Don't like erotica, then bye, Felicia.
But that's why you have to have the conversation.
Have the conversation. Because it's not like I do like it. I like it, but it's not something that.
But what if you really liked him and you could only do it when you went 4 days a year to a hotel? But he's like the greatest guy in the world.
The worst example.
Oh, no, I'm using your example.
But I'm being so honest with you.
Know.
I like erotica.
And he says, I don't think so. We got a problem.
So if I want to watch it,
you're going to have to go on a trip.
Well, damn it, I'm going to go on a damn trip.
But you just said we got to bring it into the house.
But what I am...
He needs to change his mind.
No, what I am saying... Listen to me,
you
girl.
You do know my dad's an attorney. Like, I am doing some mental warfare.
You just listen to me, girl. Listen. What I am saying is, all kidding aside, what I'm saying is I like erotica.
Right.
99.9% of the men that I've ever dated, they like erotica too. It hasn't been an issue. But in your scenario, I would have to be respectful of how he feels.
But why doesn't a man have to be respectful for how his wife feels?
I agree with that. But what I am saying, after 18 years of marriage and homeboy leaving every quarter to go at a hotel.
Let him leave.
No.
Let him leave.
No.
But I wouldn't want you to not, if you were with, like, we're lesbian lovers. And you want to watch your erotica, and I know you've been panting after me, girl. I know. Well, hey, and I don't want you watching it in my house.
Okay.
Go to the hotel.
I got you.
I mean, we need to understand that everyone's different.
But you know what I'm loving about this? What are we doing?
Getting married at the end of the month. Because Jim's cheating on me. No. With some lunatic.
You're so crazy.
I know.
So what we're doing is that we're communicating. Meredith, I'm telling you as an investigator, it stuns me that people won't have these conversations.
But I think they're embarrassed. I think
they won't. I'm telling you. I have sat there. I've sat with them. I've been in the attorney's offices with them. I've been in life coaching sessions with them. They won't have these conversations. And then they can't understand why their relationships are, well, hell, if you won't talk about it, if you won't bring it out on the table and let's talk about it, it's going to devastate you to find out that I've been sleeping with somebody for 2 damn years.
Because now it's grown legs.
Because we haven't had an open, honest conversation about our life, our sex life, our intimate life.
But doesn't this go back to being shamed?
Yes.
Being shamed as a child, being shamed.
I would agree with that.
I mean, it goes back
to... It's the same thing with masturbation.
Right. Religion. It goes back to the way we were raised. It goes back to you're shameful for touching yourself. Absolutely. You're shameful for looking at dirty magazines.
Absolutely.
You know, you save yourself until you're married. Yep. You know, purity culture,
yep.
and you know, all of these kinds of things that make us feel bad about exploring our sexuality as men or as women,
Right.
and being told that if anything is less, anything left of, missionary, committed, monogamous relationship of marriage, you are a dirty whore.
Oh, well, I actually have numerous clients that feels like oral sex is sinful. That it's dirty, that it's sinful.
Well, if you're raised in certain churches,
absolutely,
anything
that it's taboo
is taboo. And
Mhm.
so now we're going back to, the way that your brain is trained to grow up. So let's say that Jim and I have not had that conversation about pornography or oral sex or whatever.
Mhm.
And now we're talking, now I want to broach the subject because
Mhm.
clearly I'd be the one.
No, not you.
So if I'm bringing this to Jim, okay,
Mhm.
but my entire being raised from a child is that these things are bad.
Mhm.
I am pre-programmed that this is bad. This makes me a bad person. I'm probably going to actually go to hell
Mhm.
if I do these things. I mean, this is big time programming, okay?
Right.
The shame that would be involved with me bringing, and I think this is why a lot of people do go left of center and do start these very taboo kind of sexual things, is because they're not able to act out normal sexual things. So it gets kind of wacky. Everything starts to get a little bit perverted.
Mhm.
And so we need to be mindful of what we're teaching people, is that these things aren't bad. You're not going to hell if you watch porn.
Absolutely.
You're not going to hell. But there are still churches to this day that say you're going to hell if you wear freaking Lululemon pants.
If you wear makeup.
If you wear
pants. If you wear jeans.
And we're
all of
still
that.
living in this purity
Right,
culture
right,
where,
right.
And I have a really good girlfriend. She's so cute. She's always just, I'm like, well, like this, that, and the other about sex sometimes. And she's like, he's your husband. All bets are off. Like he's your husband. It doesn't matter. And so we really need to look at what we're teaching kids, what we're teaching
Absolutely.
about, children, that sex is dirty. People don't even use the right body parts when it comes to sex. They eat cookie and tookie and flookie and whatever else.
See, that's true. That's true.
Because it's all dirty. Don't touch yourself. You're gross.
Right.
This, that, and the other.
Absolutely. And again, I mean, the research and the experts say that you should teach your children the correct pronunciations for the genitalia. Just like you were saying, cookie and pookie and tookie and pee and wee wee.
And I talked about this on my abuse series, that when you do that, you are actually setting your kids up to be sexually abused, because the abuser knows that you do not talk about sex and sexual molestation.
And being
when you
honest with them about how babies are born and all of those things.
But that comes back to like, what would be so wrong if your child learned that being in a relationship and having sex is a wonderful thing?
Absolutely.
But we're so afraid of our kids having sex that then the whole
my parents,
concept
we had
of sex
the real
is negative.
Conversation. My parents didn't do the stork brought the bippity boppity.
Lord.
My mother and father kept it real. I mean, but we had the real conversation where I understood.
My kids are at 8 years old when I give that talk.
But see, that shouldn't be unusual. That should be the standard with most parents, that they feel comfortable with being honest, having those conversations. But if you got parents
that are pre-programmed,
that it's dirty, messed up in the head,
and
that
shame,
it's dirty, and that masturbation or touching yourself is shameful and sinful and this, that, and the other, how in the world do you teach your kids? Right. Where your kids really grow up being balanced, informed, healthy,
sexual health,
and intelligent about their bodies and their health. You have to be open to having the real conversation. Because I am telling you, I am stunned at the women that are uncomfortable talking about masturbation. Looky here, ladies. If you don't know what turns you on, what and where your hot spots are, how in the world
is anyone else going to know?
Is anybody else going to know? And you can't do the connect the dots thing, hoping and praying that he find it, because that's not realistic.
I had someone message me and said that they did not know that they had a third hole.
Excuse me?
A grown woman. She had no clue that she had no clue that she had a vagina. and she was in her 20s.
Say what?
Yeah. And so, these
You
things,
punking me right now,
I swear, I'll show you the message when we're off. I'm not even kidding. So this is the thing. We're talking from a very progressive parental, situation.
True.
But I mean, myself, not that progressive, meaning the way I was taught. I still deal with shame and embarrassment, even though I'm in a marriage. I still have that runs through my veins.
Do
I
you
do.
really?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. And being a mother,
Wow.
it's even worse. And I talk about this on my podcast. And I talk about this a lot of how difficult it is for women who are mothers, married or not, good relationship or not, of switching gears from being mom that is sitting there breastfeeding
to being the sex kid.
To be right. And so how we need to give ourselves grace to switching gears, to taking those 20 minutes to turn back into wife instead of chef, driving instructor, cleaning lady, laundry, whatever, and talking about homework to now all of a sudden you want me to be a sex kitten in the bedroom. And I think, I'll be honest with you, I think that's what happens in a lot of marriages is women are having a difficult time switching gears. They feel shame. They feel embarrassed to be wanting sex at all. They don't want to appear as if they're that person, or just shifting gears in general is very, very difficult. And you're tired at the end of the day, which is why I tell women all the time, just do it in the morning. You don't know who you're with. You don't know who you are, and you're not pissed off yet. So just do it in the morning. Make time.
That makes sense.
I'm telling you.
That really makes sense.
You don't know
smart.
What is going
perfectly good
on.
Sense.
Just
does.
have
that
it in the morning.
That makes sense.
Because you are not there yet. You're not irritated or overwhelmed.
Exactly.
But the thing of it is, I think that is a very common theme. I talk to a lot of women that say the exact same thing. It's easy when you're dating because you're the kitten 24/7. You're the tramp vamp running around with the leather boots. You is in it. You have got the role played down, girl.
You know my tricks, girl.
I tell you, over the knee boots. So and that's why women are better on vacation without their kids because they don't need to think about changing gears. I am so focused on a daily basis. We're here all day doing this. Then I'm going to a doctor's appointment. Then kid. Right. I am focused.
Yeah, I've watched
and so for me to go and shift gears and become kitten again, I ain't got time for kitten. I'm playing in tomorrow's podcast.
Well, you better find time for kitten.
You what?
You better, let me tell you.
But I'm telling you what,
find time for kitten.
I'm going to call you in a couple of years and be like, what's Jim doing? He leaves for the hotel every 3 months. What's going on? Go find his ass. But see, that's the thing, though. We need to give everyone grace. We need to have these conversations.
But see, that's it.
Because it's true, though.
Whether it's your mommy and me conversations, whether you've got a good gal pal, you have to be okay with having these conversations.
And I do, actually.
And you cannot be ashamed of it. I find that's the biggest challenge with a lot of these women. I know with myself, I told you we have these diva dinners where I get together with my girlfriends, and sometimes it's 5 of us, sometimes it's 20 of us or 12 of us, but we get together monthly. We pick a day a month where we get together and we know that it is an intimate.
Shit, you'd have to put us in a closed room.
No hold. Usually I order, get a closed room, girl. Right. Nobody hears. But it's an intimate, no holds barred, where we can talk about anything amongst each other. And we know that it is a safe space. It's not a space of judgment. It's a space where we can talk. I mean, the last one we had was fantastic because there were some things that came up where, some of us that are single were talking about the frustrations of dating in Atlanta. And then the married wives or the women were talking about the challenges of being a wife and being a mother, and how do you stay sexy when you're tired as shit? You've just worked a 60-hour week and your husband wants to make love and you don't fucking feel like it
at all.
We were listening to all of that. Then I have LGBTQ friends that were there. They were talking about their challenges, being in Atlanta and dating and the monogamy and the pressure. And one of my friends just got married to her wife, and she was talking about how her family is really having an issue with the fact that same-sex marriage. So we're able to have these conversations. please find somebody that you trust,
Yeah.
you love, there's no judgment, where you can have these open, honest conversations.
Well, you have to, because it makes you feel less like a weirdo.
Yes.
It lets you know that you are not
Absolutely.
alone. Because when I'm sitting here
Absolutely.
looking at your friend that, the person was cheating and this, that, and the other, and I'm seeing that in my head, I really do see a woman at home by herself in my mind's eye, trying to figure out, where can I find a libido? Because I actually texted my OBGYN and I said, hey, I was just at my oncologist and she said that, you could really, because I can't take any hormones.
Okay.
So if my hormones are gone, that's too damn bad.
Yeah.
And so she said, I've heard
So
that you can take a little bit of an antidepressant. So I text because I'm not on anything, I text my OBGYN and I'm like, hey, blah, 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 blah. And she says, well, I don't really think that would work. You need to figure something else out. So now I've gotten in contact with 2 physicians and asked for assistance.
Sure.
And
But
they're
see,
like,
there might be some holistic things that you can do that
Right.
are natural that you can
but you
do.
just have to be so mindful because I
Right.
can't up my hormones. And this
Sure.
is my thing. There's other people out there that have their own thing going on for their own reasons and this, that. And we need to be mindful. But I know not one woman out there, and I do believe this, there is not one woman out there that is wanting to just not have a relationship with their partner and is just wanting to be, maybe they're pissed off at them and they're like, I'm going to withhold. But most people want to have a good sexual relationship. They don't want their partner to cheat. They don't want their partner to run around on them. They don't want their partner going to a hotel 4 times a year.
Of course.
They want to make it work, but we need
But you
to start
can't
realizing
zone out, Meredith.
we
And a lot
have
of
to have the
women zone
conversations.
out. They
Yeah.
zone out and they feel like, well, okay, if he ain't saying nothing, it must be okay.
Right.
Girl, he ain't saying nothing because he already done found an answer to it, and his answer is to have an affair.
Right.
So no, he ain't gonna say nothing.
Because now
But
he's
you're
fixing it.
you're
But this
living
is self-medication.
But you're
You're
living in this
self-medicating.
fantasy.
Right.
And what you're saying and what we're both saying is that be able to have the conversation.
People don't wanna
Don't
have tough
zone out.
conversations.
Be able to sit down and have an open, honest conversation with your partner, your husband, your lover about how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Even
Even if you have to write it down, you might not be able to say it. Write it down. Text it.
That term hall pass, that shit is fucking real.
Mm-hmm.
That shit is real.
Yeah.
That ain't no play. Sometimes
Yeah.
you may need to do that, but you have to be able to have that conversation. I've always come from the school of thought where I want us to be able to talk about anything and everything. Because if you can't tell me, hey, babe, there's this really good looking chick that work in my office and I can tell she's trying to come for me. What I am feeling when we're together and your mind is somewhere else and I'm trying to figure out what's going on, why he's not present with me and I can feel it, I'd rather him be able to talk to me about it than sit there and I don't understand why he may be distracted. He's distracted because he's trying to figure out how to handle that situation. If you have that open communication, let's talk about it.
And it might put it to bed.
Absolutely.
Just by talking about it, it
But
might end.
That's the whole point. Most women don't know how to create that type of open communication and
men.
intimacy.
Yeah. Or
you
men.
have to be able to create that because that's intimacy.
That
You can't sit up
intimacy.
there and be pissed off and say, I can't believe that he's telling me he's attracted to another woman. Girl, you better listen. You better create a warm and loving environment where your partner, male or female, can tell you what they're honestly feeling and dealing with.
Yeah. And men too. Men need to understand that we don't switch gears in 3 seconds.
No.
We need to feel safe.
Right.
Supported,
Right.
loved. We need to feel like you are present. You
Right.
cannot be on your iPhone 1 minute,
Yeah.
on Twitter,
Right.
and then
you know what
expect
else?
to switch gears. We have no idea what's happening. We thought we got our bonnets on, we got our face mask on, we got our mouth guards in, my earplugs in, and now it's go time.
Right.
Oh
But
hell
then
no!
Also,
I need an hour prep. I need my mind switched over.
Silly. But also, too, as we head towards closing, you have to have realistic expectations because erotica and porn has a lot of men twisted.
Oh, please.
And the reality of who you sleeping with every night and what you watching on the damn internet.
Yeah.
You have to be realistic.
And I actually talk to my kids about that.
You have to be. You can't expect her to turn into this vixen because that's what you've been watching.
Fake.
And you know you married to a 5'5", 225-pound woman, and you sit up
real
here, woman, and you up here watching this stuff thinking that you have to be able to disconnect between the reality of the erotica and the porn and the reality of who you are in a relationship with. Yes, you can encourage somebody to find their sensuality and their sexuality. Yes, but you also have to be realistic in that pursuit as well. Do you agree?
100%.
That's it.
But and I did my kids, as they get older and they have the access to the internet, I think I did tell them as they were getting older, I said, look, there is a lot of stuff out there that is available to you, and I cannot be there to police you all the time.
Right.
I said, but I need you to understand that is not real.
Right.
That is a fantasy, just like any other movie or Never Ending Story or Star Trek. It's just in the sex version.
Absolutely.
So it's important that we also teach our kids, because you cannot be there. You might think your kids are so good, but they're
that's a fantasy too. Right. That a lot of these moms, and I'm telling you all as an investigator, please take your heads out your butts and not thinking that your kids are these perfect little angels. Because let me tell you, I can tell you some horror stories in regards to what happens in these junior highs and these high schools. Where parents are just, I will say this, and I hope it doesn't upset anybody, but I spoke at a junior high school. One of the little girls pulled me to the side and she was saying, she said, Miss Monica, what are your thoughts on virginity? And I said, well, sweetie, I was raised in a household where, you're supposed to only think about, quote unquote, becoming intimate with somebody when it's someone that you love, and you're in junior high school. So this is what she said to me. She said, well, most of the girls, she said, we're still virgins. Some of us are having anal sex, but
I've heard that.
But we're still virgins.
I've heard that a lot.
Girl,
too.
I wanted to fall out.
Yep.
I wanted to fall
But
out.
doesn't that go to purity culture?
But
as long as you're not having sex.
But there are parents that don't even know that their babies are even having anal sex.
Right. Because they
don't know that.
And they're still a virgin.
They're in denial because they're still a virgin. Girl.
You're the anti-virgin.
Oh.
So be loving. Have the conversation.
Have the conversation.
Don't cheat on your spouse.
That's what we're saying.
Don't download the app. That's cheating right there. That's premeditated cheating.
Have the conversation.
Don't open Pandora's box.
Have the conversations, you guys.
Have the conversation. Get out of shame.
Get out of shame and create intimacy with your partner.
Yeah.
That's important, where you can have all of the open communication, where if you're faced with the possibility of infidelity, you can address it as adults.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we did it today.
Did we do it today?
We did it today.
We did it today.
And we're going to be back next week. We're going to be back next week talking about God. So that makes sense. Oh Lord Jesus, we're doing it. We will see you guys all back here next week. Everybody. Thanks for listening. If you would like to connect on a more personal level, head over to meredithwillits.com or on Instagram at Meredith with a Y for behind-the-scene footage and outtakes. Please subscribe and come back each week for more Meredith with a Y. Thanks again for listening. Cheers.